Hello and welcome to another episode of Sports and Songs Podcast. We're on season 4, episode number 47, Andy. It's Sports Edition tonight. And Andy, we've got a lot.
It's some people say it's October, it's pumpkin spice weather, it's soup weather, it's chili weather. It's playoff season, baby.
It's almost flannel weather, but it's October 2nd. We're under episode number 47. We only do 52 a year, of course, which means our anniversary is coming up in Thanksgiving for season 5. But we've got so much on the agenda tonight. I mentioned the last couple episodes that you were on assignment, so you've got some catching up. Yeah. I'm sure you have a whole list and a whole host of things to cover tonight because between football, basketball, baseball.
I've missed out. I will have a special episode coming up probably around Christmas time of the visit to Fenway Park I did. So,
oh yes, that will be good. So let's start off with the trivia question. We already know the answer, but the question is this: has any Major League Baseball player ever won back-to-back batting titles in different leagues? Different leagues.
I know Willie Wilson won it one year. He had enough bats in the American League, but then got traded at the trade deadline to National League. But this was different, though, because it was back-to-back years. Okay.
Yeah, you've had people win it, of course, in the National League and American League and multiple times. Joe Mauer, Rod Carew, Tony Oliva, multiple-time batting titles. But winning one each in 2 back-to-back years has never been done. So we'll get to that at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
It's a name you'll recognize of longtime listener fans. In fact, it just happened here this year. But let's bring up your information.
My stuff.
Because, and if you notice the hat I'm wearing, we've got some Twins talk here as well.
We'll mention that. Here we go.
We'll mention there's other things that go along with that.
First of all, a little history here. 5 years ago, the Baltimore Orioles traded Manny Machado to the Dodgers for Dean Kramer, signaling the start of the most brutal rebuild in baseball history. Now, this was last week, but Dean Kramer takes the ball for the Orioles 27 outs away from their 100th win of the game, 100th game, and clinching the East. So in 5 years, they totally blew the whole thing up, and now here they are winning it.
Oh, yes, that's a great stat.
In fact, here's in 2000, just in 21, just a couple of years ago, 52 and 110. This year, 101 and 61.
So that's a full 5-year turnaround. And some GMs and managers say, "Hey, how long does it take to turn around?"
Look at this over 2 years, even 52 wins.
We're in a rebuilding, like you always hear the Oakland A's, but this is 110 losses to 101 wins
in 2 years on this one.
Wow!
But here's the 23 Padres this year. A shot they might have the Cy Young winner on that team. Then 3 guys with 25-plus home runs, second best ERA in the National League, closer with a 1.16 ERA, third highest offensive FWR in the National League, third fewest errors, and they did not make the playoffs.
Jeez, I mean, look at
they lost
stats.
A lot of 3-2 games. Is basically what this is saying. Now look at this picture of these 2 young gentlemen.
Lovely.
Can you read that? 2018, Broussard and Louis worked part-time construction jobs to make extra money while in the minor leagues. 5 years later, Louis is leading the MLB batting average. The other guy has a 1.32 ERA.
Yeah, they came up in the Twins organization.
And you look at Louis Reiser. He hasn't changed in 5 years. He's still at 17.
Yes.
So,
wow.
And here, getting back to the Orioles. Here at the beginning of the year, odds of making the playoffs. Orioles were worse with a 10.4% of making the playoffs.
Geez, see that?
Now look at other teams that were 50% or less and made it. The Phillies at 50%. Twins, 49.6%. The Mariners almost made it, and they were at 40.5%. The Rangers at 37.7 made it. The Marlins, 23.6%. The D-backs, 15.3%. And the Cubs, until a week out, were almost in it. So, yeah.
Yeah, that is a great stat. Wow.
And of course, the passing of Brooks Robinson. If this picture isn't in every clubhouse next year or this year for college, high school, town ball, little league, then something's wrong. If you're not practicing, somebody else is somewhere ready to take your job.
He was the human.
One of the best at third base. You see the stuff Machado is doing today and this and that. Yeah, great. Happy days. Brooks did it back in the 70s. So there. And yes, we're going to talk playoffs. All sorts of playoffs we're going to talk here. The 2023 postseason is set. In fact, actually, if it was worked out, the Marlins and Mets were supposed to conclude a game today that was postponed. The Marlins leading at the top of the ninth, but they never did do that because they didn't need to. But it was set up as a tiebreaker in case it happened.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
First time since 93, the MLB playoffs will not have the Cardinals, Red Sox, or Yankees.
Okay.
Now let's go back to our Wayback Machine, Dan. 1993 way, because that's what's at 93. Here is the playoff bracket from 1993. You only had 4 teams at the time. East and West winners. That's it. That's the year Joe Carter hit the home run to win the World Series off Mitch Williams.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful thing. Well, that only 4 teams made the playoffs. Just keep that in mind when we get to the schedule later on here. 4 teams.
It was tough to make the
spoiler
postseason.
alert, 3 of these 4 made it this year. So
there was no participation ribbons.
And here's the schedule. Now, this is assuming all the series goes 7 games. These are the dates for the schedule. So the 3rd through the 5th. So October 6th is really your only day off there for a while till the World Series. We'll get to that later. Excuse me. So there is your bracket. The Twins are the 3 seed. Now, these best of 3 series are all at the better seeded teams. So all 3 are at Minnesota. It's not a 2-1.
So first time ever that has ever happened.
Excuse me. Yep.
That's very interesting. Yep.
And you look at it, the 3 and 6 seeds in those games, even the Brewers and Diamondbacks. That's not exactly a gimme right there either.
Yeah, these are all good matches. All good matches. And once again, you never know what's going to happen in these games. You can't pick the odds. You can't pick the favorites. It's anything can happen. It's a wild goose chase now, starting tomorrow.
Now, here's your calendar for the month of October. Now, if everything goes 7 games, these are the days there's baseball games on.
Okay.
The 25th, 26th, there's nothing because they got to lead it up to the World Series where it's 2-3-2. So 29th and 2nd will be off. So really, the 6th and then the 25th are going to be our only 2 days off. If everything goes to the limit, it's going to be great.
Full month.
Yeah, and all these 3 games are all set staggered out where some are Tuesday, some are these first 3 are all Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, starting at noon. So now here's some Major League Baseball and GM tracker moves just in the last week. The Red Sox have fired an executive, Mr. Bloom. The executive fired him. Terry Francona retired as manager of the Guardians. Jeff Greenberg, executive, was hired by the Tigers. Dusty Baker has not yet announced his future plans. Now, remember when Dusty took over for the Astros, was issues there. He just hey, Dusty, our other manager got canned at the last minute. Will you take the job? He left the studio, sure. And he's just been doing well ever since. So,
okay.
Phil Nevin will not return as the Angels. They will not be bringing him back. Craig Counsell, free agent, has not yet announced his plans from the Brewers. Now, if they do well in the playoffs, I'm sure he's coming back for the next price. David Stearns, executive of the Mets, hired him today. Buck Showalter announced yesterday he will not come back. Aaron Boone is expected back, and Gabe Kapler was fired by the Giants on the 29th. Now, they did not make the playoffs 3 of the 4 years. The Orioles, I thought, fairly competitive all the time. Gabe Kapler will have a job next year somewhere, period. I'm telling you that now.
Mm-hmm.
Write it down. Hear me now, listen to me later. Gabe Kapler will have a job in Major League Baseball in spring training. Rest assured.
Now, is this the first time they've used free agent for these manager positions? I've never heard that before.
They're kind of free agent a little bit like that. This is kind of a form. One bit of Mets news. September 30th, 1962, the Mets close out their inaugural season with a 5-1 loss to the Cubs. Their 120th of the year. Joe Pignatato becomes the only player in Major League history to end his career by hitting into a triple play.
What? Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, just so you think things could get any worse for your team. Boom. End my career hitting into a triple play.
120 losses and a triple play to end your career.
Yep. Have a nice day.
Perfect. Just really nice there.
Yeah,
Nice
have
work.
a nice day, Joe. Our 80s stat of the week. El Toro. Fernando started his 81 season going 7-0 with a .29 ERA, 63 innings, 2 earned runs, and 61 strikeouts over his first 7 career starts at 81, going 9 innings in each and throwing 5 shutouts.
Just think about that stat. He was a rookie, right?
As you can tell in that picture below, he is breathing out of the right eyelid.
Out of the eyelid, yes.
But, here's the thing that you forget about Fernando, though. 63 innings. Only 61 strikeouts. He wasn't a big strikeout pitcher. He was he made the ball. Yeah, he had that screwball, but he wasn't a big strikeout guy. They hit lots of ground balls,
Pitch to contact.
The WNBA, their finals are here this week. Las Vegas Aces, New York Liberty. Get those frequent flyer miles in for the announcers. 2 in Vegas, 2 in New York, if need be, and then Game 5 again back in Vegas. Sunday, Wednesday, Sunday, Wednesday, Friday is your schedule.
Okay.
ABC and ESPN are hosting the games, all on your Disney package.
Now, is this something that needs to be stretched out that long?
I think a lot of it, what they're doing here, because of location and TV, they're competing with baseball for the playoffs right now.
Gotcha.
Sunday it's a 3:00 game, so they got the balls. They're going up against the NFL on 2 Sundays. So, God love them. If you look at their numbers for the WNBA, their attendance numbers have been up. Viewer numbers have been up. And if you live in a market like this and you're stuck watching the Vikings lose again, you might flip over to the WNBA. Or if you're in Chicago's market or, wherever else that's not doing well. NASCAR is in the playoffs still right now. There's Ryan Blaney, who won at Talladega the other day. So of these 3 races, we have 2 winners so far. William and Ryan have won so far. The bottom 4 in red would be out if it ended today, but there's still 1 more race before they cut the bottom 4. So Brad Kozlowski's in a little bit of trouble, only 2 points up. Even Denny at 50 up, though. He blows something in that first lap. He's SOL, and it's all up in the air then. So he's not really locked yet. I think mathematically might be, but he's still going to go for that win for the bonus points. Go for football. Well, here's all the Big Ten. They won against Louisiana Lafayette. Penn State, Michigan, Purdue, Rutgers, Maryland, and Iowa are your winners. I watched the Iowa-Michigan State game when we got back Saturday night, and that was a good game. Very good defensive game. Lots of interceptions, turnovers. I liked it.
And some say too, the Gophers lost to Northwestern in overtime the previous week. Northwestern is not that good, and they came from behind, to
Yeah.
win that. But actually, Louisiana Lafayette's actually a better team than Northwestern, and Gophers beat them by 11, and that was fair. But boy, that come from behind win in Northwestern on the road, really.
I know. I'm eating my words. We said on our Big Ten preview show, I thought they'd be. I was hoping they'd be 5-0 right now. Everybody else was saying 4-1. They're 3-2, and wow, they'd be excited to be in the Motor City Bowl right now, I think.
Yeah.
And there's the East Division standings for the Big Ten. Penn State, Maryland, and Michigan. Yes, Maryland are all 5-0. Ohio State 4-0. Rutgers is even 4-1 for the God's sake. Then there's the West. Yes, the Gophers are in third in the West. They will not win the West. They will not. No, just no. Bison took it on the chin the other day. They lost to South Dakota 24-19. Wow. And South Dakota State kept winning. They're just a machine right now. So with that,
and remind the listeners, Andy, South Dakota State is the number one ranked team. This is the other University of South Dakota that beat them by 5 at home.
Homecoming.
Was it homecoming?
I believe so. So here's the standings in the Missouri Valley. Look at how low down the Bison are. My Lord. Yeah, it was their first conference game with the loss, but you're already one loss behind everybody else. So it's all uphill.
A lot of talent in this conference. A lot of talent, and we know how good North Dakota State is, NDSU. But boy,
they dropped to 8th in the rankings from 2 to 8 with that loss. Holy Cross lost. They dropped from 5th to 12th. William and Mary lost. They dropped from 4 to 9. So, and we see when the playoffs come up. Just because you're in the top 10 doesn't mean you're making the playoffs. So, we shall see.
We don't even see Colorado School of Mines in there yet.
The Beavs.
Really good. Speaking of
they
good.
Lost.
They
by 3 at home for homecoming to Minnesota State Mankato.
And they were, I think, 7th or 5th or 6th.
Depending on the poll you're in.
The Mavericks.
Not so loud, okay? Shush.
Wow. I didn't see
that one coming either.
Wow.
So here they are in the standings. They're sitting 4th at 4-1. They should be okay if they can hang on for the playoffs there. And they dropped from 7th to 11th in the rankings. And there's Colorado Mines up there, number 2.
There's the Mines.
Colorado School of Mines still hanging at 2. Yay Miners.
Okay.
Now, Minnesota State was the 5 seed, so it was 2 good teams going against each other. The 5 against the 7, but when you're at home, it's a pretty even matchup, and you still lost by 3. But it shows you how tight it is, too. They lost by 3.
That was weather
to the number 5 seed, and they dropped 4 spots. So,
was there any weather up there?
Nice weather.
Wow, that's a
shock.
Now,
if you saw it on social media on Facebook, I did have a special soapbox on Facebook this week. It was typing, not a video, so you have to read. But here's a different soapbox I got. Let's just go through that baseball playoff one more time. Here we go. Depending on how they want to do it, ABC, ESPN 2 of the games. Yeah, as of this time, they didn't know who was going to play where. They wanted to see what teams they were all going to be. Because, the Twins end up being the 3 o'clock game, so they stuck them on ESPN. And I just don't like how they shuffle around depending who you play. No, set it up now and be done with it. That's why I liked it back in the day.
Yeah, they want to jump in there and get it. And I was thinking this too, Andy. I was going to ask you that, the umpiring crew, the crews have been announced for the postseason, but they didn't know where they were working.
Right.
Yet.
And it gets better. Here it is for the divisional playoffs. We don't know if that game's going to be on Fox or FS1. Really? Also, if it's like the Twins and Houston, oh no, we'll put that in FS1 instead. You know, it doesn't have our big name players on it, which there isn't in the American League right now. It's the teams that won with teams. Like we said earlier, there's no Red Sox or Yankees, so they don't know what to do with themselves. So they don't know if it's going to be Fox or FS1. Here, even the League Championship Series, they don't know if they're going to put it on Fox or FS1. For the League Championship Series. Oh, now, of course, the World Series will be on Fox, of course. But you don't even know if you're out of the semifinals, basically. The ALCS, you might shove those games on FS1.
No, it's a very good soapbox topic.
So we watch the Masked Singer instead on Fox.
Great topic.
I mean, was there a good episode of Masked Singer on Fox that night instead we got to watch or something? I don't know. I'm just so tired of it. Yeah, I just turned into a grumpy old man, Dan. And that's
well, it's true because the broadcast and the TV and the announcers and the broadcast team, they want to line them all up to get the right ones in there. And it's, of all things, and I don't know if you've got this coming up, Andy, but the Twins have gone 0-8, 0-18 in their last playoff games as a team, and their biggest arch rival is the Yankees.
Well,
now we finally don't get them, but guess who's doing the broadcast? It's the Yankees broadcast team is doing the broadcast play-by-play at Target Field.
Now
we still can't get away from.
Well, and I really out of those 18, weren't the A's the other team in there we couldn't beat? For some reason, that sticks in my head.
Yeah. Yes.
So we get rid of those two, and so what do we get? The Yankee announcers. But that's all I got, sir. Pretty short and sweet right there. I will be coming up more with the NSCI. I'll get it over here. Thank you.
NSIC, I think.
I've been gone all the while. I kept getting my nipples straight. I'm going to start doing a midweek show on those as football gets going in here more in the heart. I know they don't go by those initials for hockey, but when hockey season starts and basketball starts, we'll mix those two in together and do a little midweek show on our friends up in the northern part of the state. A little special stuff for them. The Bison, FCS football, will still going to push them hard and follow them hard. It'd be kind of fun to watch them fight back up to get in there. With this loss this early, it might be kind of hard to get that first home game. So they're going to really, really have to earn it this year.
Well, we haven't talked NFL. The Vikings won, but it was 2-0-3 teams in Colorado, Carolina. Vikings win by, get a sneak by with the win. Gophers have the big matchup with Michigan coming up. But that's really your Saturdays and Sundays. Now the midweek is going to be filled up with baseball starting tomorrow, all afternoon. I'm sure there's many people working in offices that won't be getting much stuff done here in the afternoons here in October. But it's going to be interesting. The Twins take on Toronto, and I've looked at the matchups. That's one of the best matchups there is in this opening round as far as teams that are evenly matched. We talk about how good the Twins starting pitching is and the Twins bullpen, but side by side, Toronto is the next team up there with one of the best pitching staffs starting and bullpen that are out there.
I think they're 2-3 in all baseball.
2-3.
Yeah.
Of all of the teams that are left in baseball, they're the second and third best pitching staffs. So they're going up head to head already. Twins get it at home, which is going to be great, nice, favorable, all that. But you're facing Bo Bichette and Vlad Guerrero Jr. and Toronto's got some good guys. So now we'll see what happens here in the postseason, especially with these afternoon games. Justin Morrow mentioned it on the broadcast the other day that the Twins always play at 12 or 1. or at 6 or at 7. And now you get these 3:30 games, and it's a difference. You get the shadows, you get different things going on. And so it's going to be a different thing. Once again, it's best of 3. You win 2, you're done. If you go all 3, it's still best of 3. The other team goes home. But it's going to be some good baseball to watch on TV and whatnot.
And if you look at the schedule for it too, a lot of it, because the 3 games, so you're not worried about time zones back and forth. But yeah, Arizona, and you got the Dodgers. That's all you got for out west.
That's right. Yeah, Seattle got beat San Diego.
When it was the Dodgers and the Giants and Colorado and Seattle, and when you had 3-4 teams in there and you always had a West Coast game, someone got hosed that had the shadow game all the time, But we're going to have the shadows games,
yes.
And you always got stuck with the West Coast team getting that because, we can't really start a game at 9 in the morning there, so it's noon on the East Coast. But don't want to start at 7 o'clock there where it's 11 on the East Coast. So, they always got stuck in that tweener game in there.
And the other thing with the playoffs is that extra inning games do not start with the runner on second. There's none of that. So it's legitimate extra inning games now from this point.
As we play in church around Lenten time, thanks be to God.
Yeah. So next week at this time when we do the show, that first round will be done. We'll be in the middle of the divisional series at that point, and it will be interesting. And we've got a Hams beer handoff coming to you, Andy, here potentially this week or early next week. But that should be interesting. Yeah. But Twins against the Blue Jays. We'll see how Barrios and company does. You get a couple of those pitchers there for Gossman. There, you got Sonny Gray with a low ERA. You get Lopez up there with high strikeouts. Then you look and you see Gossman up there with the second highest strikeouts, and the other pitcher with the real low ERA. Very good matchup.
I don't see any of them being a 2-0 sweep. I really think at least 3 of the 4 will go 3 games.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair enough. We'll see how they do. It'll be fun to see, I think, the Target Field fans, a sellout crowd, if it is. They're saying it will be, but sold out afternoon game. What's that going to be like? What will the atmosphere? It's going to be fun stuff. Fun stuff. All right, that's all I've got for now. We'll be back next week with all the updates and football stats and everything. We'll get a little more on some varsity football next week as well. That'll be kicking into high gear.
A lot of those games got rescheduled this last weekend. So a lot of games got rescheduled last weekend. We're coming in from the weather, so we'll see how they all pan. I know Watertown's playing tonight. They were supposed to play last Friday. They're playing tonight, actually. So.
Interesting. Okay, we'll get the listeners caught up on that as well. That's all I've got for this week. We'll see you all next Monday.
Bye.
See ya.